Tonight in the Parlour, rock, rock and roll high school, music and education, the formal discipline of an ounce of action and a ton of theory, translating the hair-raising sensation of sound into an academic process in a timetable terrain. We're all going to be hearing about that, also enjoying some marvellous live music from Fierce Wilds, and generally having a real good time tonight. Let's go in.
Equal people, equal people.
Happy. Hello and welcome to the Parlour, a parapsychological portal of popular song and euphonious, harmonious hypothesis. But you know, filmed in the former dressing room of Whelans. Coming up on tonight's show, we're going to be hearing wonderful music from Fierce Wilds. As well as that, we'll be speaking with Alan Cullivan from BIM College and Killian Redmonk from Double Do Music, all about music and education. Also, unearthed from the Ray Wingnut files, we have a live performance and interview with the Waterford trio Percolator. But to begin tonight's show, they just played Equal People for a lovely studio audience. You, at home, currently in the position of the camera, will have to see that in good time online. But please clap at your screens, and indeed, ladies and gentlemen, once again, clap at the very notion of Fierce Wilds. Thank you for being on the show. We've got Cara, we've got Kathy, we've got Roro. Tell us, for the uninitiated, how did you meet? How did you start Fierce Wilds?
Well,
I knew Cara for a few years. All right. In fact, actually, I auditioned for your band.
Party weirdo?
No, it was years before that. I auditioned as a guitarist and didn't get it. So thanks, Cara, for that. And then Roro, where did we find you?
Girls Rock Camp.
Yeah, basically through common friends. We were working on a project that didn't really happen in the end. I auditioned as a guitar player and didn't work.
Seems to be a bit of a trend there.
So, yeah.
So that's the reason it's the three-piece. There's no other guitar players, Cara?
No, couldn't find any.
Okay, let's not go there. And what bonded you together musically?
I don't know.
The
funk.
Really?
No.
I don't know. We just really enjoy playing together. So it was kind of just the magic seemed to be happening. So we kept going with it. I mean, we just had lots of fun. I think that was the main thing.
And in terms of the lyrics, obviously there's a big focus on feminist ideology. What was the catalyst for that in your lives, Cara?
Well, I mean, I write all the lyrics. I think, it was just like playing in bands for years. It was a way of getting or expressing opinions and maybe getting a bit political, and especially in Ireland, there's lots of opportunity to get political, and if you're not happy about something, then we started singing about it. Lots of different things.
For you guys, was there maybe this is just my opinion, I'm projecting onto you, but there seems to be like a lack of protest songs or a lack of songs examining the society we live in Ireland today. Were you conscious of that in writing your songs?
Well, not really. I think that we just, as 30-something-year-old women, we were conscious that there was a lot of things that we want to change. But I think through music it can be quite accessible, and then maybe we start the discussion around pro-choice or the referendum, the marriage referendum, and just equality in general. So I think that's
Is it difficult to boil those big issues down into lyrics? I mean, is there a fear of oversimplifying things there?
Yeah, and I think probably do. But I think that's okay.
Is this the most danceable project you guys have been involved in? I mean, for me, listening to your music, it seems to really make the message really accessible, the fact that your music is so melodic and danceable.
I'd love to see people dance. Yeah, it's great.
I know we're compacted for space, but we could try at your next song. Tell us about the next song you're going to play for us tonight.
Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks is a American author and feminist, and I think when I was kind of looking into feminism for the first time, I mean, feminism is everywhere, obviously, but actually reading up on it, she wrote a book called Feminism is for Everybody, And, you know, it's really accessible, and feminism is, you know, this, you know, not this kind of daunting thing, you know, you can talk about it, and it's quite healthy to talk about feminism and equality in general. So, yeah, it was dedicated, you know, I suppose it's a song for her and like lots of people who are saying really nice, cool things about equality, and yeah.
We give him a round of applause here, Bell Hooks. That's Chris Mark. Fierce Miles with Bell Hooks. We'll have more music from them later on the show. Also, for more fantastic Fierce Smile music, visit our global internet page, theparlour.tv. You can log on there, streaming exclusive bonus tracks on your mobile, laptop, or tablet devices. Anyway, we don't need no education, we don't need no thought control. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall, brackets, part 2. Those are the words of the privately educated Regent Street Polytechnic dropout, Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. Tonight, we'll be challenging the sentiments of that 1979 #1 hit single with Alan Cullivan from Bing College and also Killian Redmonk from Double Do Music. Thanks very much for being on the show, guys. Welcome to the show. Guys, I was hoping you could tell us, first off, how you got involved with music education. Killian.
Well, it started off, my friend Shane, who I do Double Do Music with, he had been working on a master's on graphic notation, which is basically a different way of creating music scores. And he was trying out a few different graphic notations with different people, seeing how they were reacting to what was presented to them, what they were playing, what sounds they were coming up with. And he decided that basically primary school music education needed to be revolutionised. So we kind of got together about 4 years ago, and we've been working on that since.
What is the revolution you're hoping to start?
Basically just to make music a more accessible and fun thing for the kids. So what we're doing is we've got a system that's colour-coded, and it's all shapes that are open to interpretation. So instead of your like normal music notation or whatever, you've got these random shapes that are coming up on screen, and you decide what the sounds are and you play along with that. So it gets kids developing like their listening skills and even like their composition skills, and yeah.
And at an early age.
At an early age as well, yeah.
And Alan, for yourself, you started.
I suppose I got a call about 5 or 6 years ago from BIM in the UK looking for some kind of guidance on how they might set up BIM here in Dublin, because I had experience about with being in the band and being signed and working at a label and then having a management company. So I was one of a few people that they called. So I met them and we got on very well. And myself and Dara Kilkenny helped to set up the whole place.
And the college, a lot of the lecturers would have been in bands in the 90s and beyond.
Yeah.
Is there other criteria for them being lecturers there? What would be the...
I suppose they have to have the ability, experience, but also, more importantly, we like to have people who are current within, even more so these days, current within in the music industry, so they're active and current now, rather than, so they can go off on tour and they can go back and say, well, I came across this, or I came across this, and this is my issue today, this is my issue now, and kind of pass on that experience. Relevant, because the music industry changes, has been changing and continues to change.
Absolutely. It's an interesting transition to make, though, from being a musician to an educator, and obviously a different kind of communication required for the two. In both your experiences, how have you found that?
I think it just means if you're actively involved in music and then going into education, you can draw on huge kind of experience and, expose, especially if you're working with kids. When I was in primary school, anyway, there wasn't a huge range of musical styles being taught. Like, you were clapping your hands and you were singing along, "Oh, Roshi, Wally," and whatever else. But there wasn't a whole lot there. Whereas, because of myself and Shane's background, we can go, "Oh, this is an Afrobeat tune," or "This is what like a funk break is," or whatever else, and you can throw all these mad musical examples at them, and more often than not, they're like, "Yeah, great, give me more." Yeah.
And Alan, for yourself?
Well, to say I'm as a musician could be a little bit of an exaggeration. I was a bass player, not like this wonderful bass player down here. I held the bass in a 3-piece punk pop band, so a musician might be a little bit an exaggeration. So from there, being in the band, you're very much aware of the politics that happens within bands. And then I from being in the band, I worked at a label, and then I became a manager. I'm very similar to Killian's experience, but working with children. When you're a manager of a rock band or a pop band, it's not that too much of a gap between that and working with kids. And then when you figure out how to manage bands and then working with education, it's kind of like managing a huge big band at the moment.
Okay. For yourself, Killian, working with younger kids, maybe there's a different end goal with it. What would be the main aim of Dabble Doing Music?
I suppose just to get kids, to get them engaging with music at an early age and to kind of get rid of any sense of fear that they might have had about it. And I think music can be a pretty big and scary thing with the way it's delivered sometimes. I mean, if you're a kid and you're shown, "Oh, this is musical notation," and if you can't read that, you mightn't be a musician, which is what I was told at an early age. And I'm not bitter about it or anything. But no, you get shown this rather abstract-looking language, right, and quavers and things like that, and you're going, "Sure, how does that match up with what I'm hearing in my head, or what I'm hearing on the radio?"
Putting the question towards Alan, what would be the ambition with BIM now?
For the college, well, a couple of things like developing some new courses, music production, which we have going, also music event management, and also music industry studies as well. But that's that. But besides that, this is our first year of having graduates, so we're at the end of our cycle of the first 4 years. So it'll be just very interesting and exciting, because I've known these people, to see what they do, what they've learned, and hopefully, the whole thing will change, and they will become. They'll just, they mold the way music is created and consumed and distributed within Ireland. It's great. So that's the hope.
Because, there's an extent to which a lot of people that would be teaching at the college, and I suppose you yourself, you would have just learned by doing, you would have learned on the job, and they're getting more of a structured entry point into those kind of things. What's been the response, I suppose, from students to the content?
It's been pretty positive so far. It's been mainly positive. We obviously have some teething issues in the first year and a bit, but I think on the whole, it is pretty positive. Obviously, we get requests from student bodies to maybe could we do this and maybe not do that and change this, and we try and respond to that as much as we can. Whereas, there's an awful lot of clarity even what we do. because there's an awful lot of student representative bodies in the college, so we'd like to respond as openly as we can, even if we can't provide something or can't react the way they want. We're open about this. And in many ways, a lot of the lessons are student led, because it's a creative thing. It's very creative. You can't dictate what goes on, what somebody's gonna do if they're creating a piece of work. So a lot of it is directed by students. So in that way, I think that kind of sets us out. And I think that's the part, and I think that's what appeals to a lot of students.
Mm-hmm. Is there any kind of stigma around music education in Ireland at the moment, do you think?
Possibly, yeah. Well, when we started the college, there was a bit of a fear of that. We didn't know which way it was going to go. In my mind, I always equate our college BIM with NCAD in many ways. That's one of the reasons why we are where we are, because we're quite close to NCAD. And there is a lot of partnerships, informal partnership that the students of both colleges have forged. Obviously somebody's making music, somebody might need a video, somebody might need design, all kinds of stuff. And that's happened naturally. And so yeah, I would agree. There was a fear of that, and there is an element of that. But the more the college goes on, and I don't know, it's become quite a creative hub, and we got a lot of help from the wider industry. From promoters, bloggers, etc. The people we all know, and there's very little negativity around it, that I can see. There's a lot of great bands coming forward. There's a wonderful drummer over there who's a student at the college. There's just so many great bands that, coming out of it. So really, that's our argument. If there is ever going to be an argument, well, check out the bands. Bite me.
On that weird note, we shall end. Thanks very much.
All right.
Alan, Killian, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Now, is it a coffee maker? Is it a bomb? No, it's a band from Waterford. It's Percolator, recorded live in Whelans, speaking to Ray Wingnut.
How's it going? I'm Ray Wingnut, and I am up here in the weird room with the wallpaper, and I'm at the coffee table with Percolator. Percolator, how's it going, lads? Spud and Ian.
How's it going?
What's the crack? Now listen, Percolator, right? Kind of an enigmatic band, I think, you know what I mean? You've been around for a long time, but I don't seem to know much about you at the same time, do you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. Can you tell me all about the band?
We haven't really done much yet. We're just very slow at doing stuff. We've been a band for about 7 or 8 years. We're only now releasing an album.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If
it ever gets mastered onto tape, slow it down. What else do you want to know about the band?
I think that's an interesting thing, because of course, everybody's in a band for different reasons and stuff like that. But I suppose some bands would have goals and stuff like that. Would be let's make an album, or let's book a tour and stuff like that. How does it work with Percolator?
Yeah, I think you had that goal about 5 years ago, starting to record the album.
Yeah, we just like playing.
Yeah.
This is a new. It feels like a new band now as well, because Spud has only joined us recently enough, so this is only, what's this, the 4th, 5th gig probably.
Yeah.
So it feels kind of new.
Yeah.
Even though the songs are all really old.
And listen, can you tell me all about this studio project that you got going on here in Dublin?
Yeah, I suppose I've just been recording for years, and myself and Ian have been recording since we were down in Cork. And then, moved up to Dublin, and I had to get a permanent fixture because it was kind of mobile squat studio for a while. And yes, got a premises and just set it up. Had lots of gear anyway from all the years of being in the mobile studio. So
in the van.
Yeah.
You've worked with really, really amazing bands, you know what I mean? I just met you recently, but I knew you have a huge reputation, you know what I mean? So I was just this guy. I was the mythical Spud, you know what I mean? The guy who does 10 past 7, the guy who does the Jimmy Cake, the guy who does Katie Kim and stuff like this.
Do you think he'd be taller?
Yeah, exactly. I was, I know, no, and you fit the bill. You're a legend.
Wearing a big gown.
Yeah, exactly. Irish, royalty, you know what I mean. So you clearly have a broad range, you know what I mean, and a great background and all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean. So what's the setup like in the studio? So it's a fixed studio, yeah.
It is, yeah. Got 2 rooms, just control room and a live room. Combination of digital and analog gear, and it's just gear that we've kind of, I suppose since I started recording, all the money I made from it just went straight back into equipment, and yeah, that's still going back into equipment.
Yeah.
So yeah, this time in next year, Brothers.
Yeah, and of course, like I mean, you know, having
sad but true. This time next year, Brothers.
and like having a studio like that is a great thing to have at your disposal, and surely that's going to influence the sound of Percolator. Does that mean that like you're going to be putting in hours of tweaking and twerking and twerking?
That's kind of years, I think, it's more.
You know, bells and whistles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, is it going to have a big studio sound or a live sound? Do you think?
That's a studio sound, but it's not.
Yeah, I suppose we layered it up and produced it, and then gutted most of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just brought it down to as little as possible.
That's
Although there's still really thick textures and lots of it, but yeah, tried to keep it as raw, and the drums are really spacious.
Yeah.
Real, so. And the bass and the guitars.
Yeah.
It's just, bells and whistles, like you said, yeah.
Well, listen, looking forward to some Doom Dream Dome gaze. I think. Listen, thanks for winning Percolator.
Nice one.
That was Percolator, and this is Ray Wingnut. Hello, Ray.
Hi, Danny.
How's life treating you this week?
Pretty good, you know what I mean? A bit tired, you know, but I'm pretty good, yeah.
I'm talking about music and education earlier. Do you remember your school days?
Oh, my old school days. Yeah, Doneraile, North Cork. But you know, when the lads were talking about music education, I got one like terrible story about music education. One thing that's really scarred me, and it still haunts me to this day, right? Whenever there's like a session Kjol going, and everybody wants to, you know, get lively and stuff like that, as soon as any even thought of Shan nose dancing or Irish dancing or particularly set dancing, I freeze, man, and I go into horror. And I love dancing, right? Yeah. And the story is Doneraile Community Hall, or about maybe 1992. All the lads, right? Christian Brothers School, so all the lads are up on the stage together, right? Holding hands and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Hands on, set dancing, right? And Oily Welch, shouts to Oily Welch in Doneraile, our set dancing teacher, press stop on the tape in the middle of our set, and we were doing our circles and stuff like that. And then she rewinded and she started it again and stuff like that. We were on the hall and all you could hear was and no music and stuff like that. It was terrible. And ever since that moment, I'm absolutely haunted. So bear that in mind now, lads, when you're educating kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You know, it can be great to educate kids, but you can put a severe end to a beautiful thing like Irish and Shan nose dancing forever in somebody's life.
So you could have been a set dancer, but now you're a barman.
I could have been Michael Flatley, man, you know what I mean? But I'm not. Oily Welch.
maybe Fierce Mild could encourage you to dance again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well-
They got funky grooves.
Absolutely. They're going to play us out with a song called Small Talk. Thumbs.